issue. But what are we going to do about it? We need to figure that out. So I'm reminded of a poem written by Will Allen Dromgoole is his name, and it's entitled Bridge Builder. I'm not going to recite the entire poem, but I will tell you this. The idea of the poem, it talks about how important it is for the people that have traveled the path to not forget how important it is to turn around and build that bridge for everybody that's coming along the same path. If you don't do it, if you don't do it, if you don't do it, who's going to do it? My question to you tonight is, where are the bridge builders? Who are the bridge builders? I am a bridge builder. How about you? Now, if you know anything about bridges, this bridge that we're talking about, it has many different meanings, but I'll focus on two. If you know about bridges, it is a way to get you from one area to another, whether there's water, whether the land is impassable, is dangerous, but that bridge is going to get you from one safe side to the next safe side.
Nice so.
Now, if you think about a physical bridge, I'll give you an example. There's a bridge in Louisiana called Lake Pontchartrain Bridge. It goes across Lake Pontchartrain. It's about 24 miles long.
Yes.
Over nothing but water. Now, if you can imagine, 24 miles of water, there's bridges on two sides, traffic going in two different directions. Who built that bridge? I can tell you this, it wasn't just one person that built that bridge. It wasn't two people that built that bridge. It was a lot of people that got together to build that bridge and so many other bridges like it. So what am I saying? In order for there to be a connection from one group to the next, from one person to the next, from one generation to the next, there has to be a connection in the middle that can bridge the gap between those two sides. And I tell you tonight that that's everybody in this room. Everybody. It's not just the young people. It's not just the seasoned people. It's not the people like me that's somewhere in the middle. It's everybody. So how do we get there? We talked about the branch. We are the branches that Jesus was talking about. And if we're going to be those branches that bear the fruit, we have to be connected to God. We have to be connected to Jesus. We just heard that a few minutes ago. Everything that we do has to be tied in to Jesus. What does that mean? Jesus taught us so many different lessons, but I'm going to give you 4 tonight that I use as my own core values in my personal life as well as in my professional life. The first thing is character. And what I would say before I get started with that is that Jesus cared. He showed us in so many different examples how much he cared. How much he cared about his disciples and everybody else. How much he cared about his vision of what his legacy would be. The care that he put into preparing the disciples to continue after he was gone was demonstrated throughout his entire 3.5-year ministry until his death, right? So the character that Jesus instilled in his disciples and that he displayed himself, character. You cannot talk about leadership without talking about character. If you think about some of the most influential people that you know or have heard of, learned about, read in a book that was very powerful, influential people that fell, it had something to do with a lack of character in most of those cases. Lack of character. You can have the best philosophy on earth and mess up one time and lose all of your credibility. All of it. Just by making a mistake that seems to be unethical. It can seem to be unlawful, untruthful. You still lose points. And I'm gonna show you. In my hand, I have a few coins. These coins represent my character as a leader. So if you're following me, I'm going to use somebody else since she's filming. If you're following me and you trust me and I deceive you and you find out about it, I give you a coin. That's a little piece of my character. And every time I make a mistake or I show a lapse in my character, I lose another coin. So now I'm down to 3. I may make an honest mistake at times, but if I don't take the proper steps to correct that, I'm still losing my integrity. I'm still losing it. And if I'm being dishonest or doing things that are not pleasing in the sight of the Lord, I'm losing. And before you know it, I have none left. So a leader who starts off with 5 coins or 5 coins worth of character and integrity that's now down to 1 or 0 can't lead anybody. If you don't trust me, you're not going to follow me. If you don't like me because I did you wrong, you're not going to follow me. If you don't know me, you're not going to follow me either, because I may not have taken the time to get you to a point where you know me. You know my philosophy. You know how I am. I know about you. I know who you are, what your family's about. If you're having any financial issues, if your wife left you, if you suffer from, the bill collectors on your back and you can't perform at work, if I don't take the time to get to know these things, I cannot effectively lead you. The next thing I would talk about is attitude. Say it with me, attitude. Attitude. If you have the wrong attitude, you cannot effectively lead people. I'm not saying we always have to be pleasant and happy-go-lucky all the time, always happy. That's not life. We have bad days, just like we have good days. But what I am saying is we have to be able to put ourselves in a proper attitude in order to lead. Jesus wasn't always happy. Jesus got angry too, didn't he? Jesus got angry. But you have to keep it in perspective. But for tonight, I want to keep it positive. So let's talk about having a positive mental attitude. So if you're a organization that's focusing on growth or focusing on moving forward, you have to have a positive mental attitude, because I will tell you one of the biggest and fastest ways to stop progress and stop growth is this right here. We've always done it like this. Or we've never done this like this. That will stop progress right in its tracks. And it's over. It's over from there. So imagine this. If you have a young person, I'm not going to say a millennial, I'm going to say a young person, because we have some younger people that's younger than millennials. If you have a young person who's ambitious, who has great ideas, and they want to do some work, and you squelch them out with, no, we can't do that. We've never done that before. We're not going to do that. Guess what you just did? Just crush that person. They don't even want to do anything anymore. They just shut down on you. And it's hard to get them back. So, how do we bridge this gap between these generations where, and it's hard to get to a point where everybody's comfortable, but it's not always going to be comfortable. That's why you need bridge builders. You have to have people that understand what bridge building leadership is all about. It's not about we always did it this way. If you know anything about growth, you have to change. As soon as you become unwilling to change, you just stop growing. You cannot grow without changing.
Yes, sir.
So, if we have people that are on fire to do something, we need to find ways to accommodate that fire. We got to keep it in control, but we have to let people grow too. So let me keep going. Relationships. How do you figure, what do you figure is the best way to get to know somebody? Talk, communicate. What else? Fellowship. What else? What was that? Have an event. So fellowshipping, socializing, spending time, All of these things will help to develop a relationship, but before you can communicate, you have to connect. You must connect with people before you can communicate properly with them. Yeah, I can come in the room and scream out a bunch of orders and do this, do that. You may do it, you may not. But if I connect to you first, if we have a bond, we have a connection, we're building a relationship, you are so much more likely to do what I asked you to do, and you want to do it.
That's right.
So you have to connect with people first. So as the leader, it's our responsibility to do that. Y'all know that, right? We cannot wait for the young folks to come to us and say, hey, you know, I want to build a relationship with you. I want to get to know you better. It's not going to happen. And if we seniors or seasoned people are unwilling to initiate that contact, it's just not going to happen. But that responsibility falls on us. We're the ones with the experience. So how do we impart this experience into them if we can't connect to them? It's not going to happen. We can't do it through osmosis. We can't just holler it at them. They're not going to listen. So we have to connect. You have to find a way to connect. And it only takes one thing. If you got a young person that you know likes sports, I don't know, go on the internet. Look on TV. Find something that's dealing with sports and use that as a way to start a conversation with that person. If you know the person likes reading books or something, learn a little bit, just enough so you can have a conversation with that person so you can connect with them. That's how we have to do it, especially with the younger generation now. And yes, times are different. Things are not the same as they were last generation or 20, 30 years ago. Things have changed. But that does not mean it's impossible for us to continue to grow as a people. So connection, building those relationships is critical. It's critical in order for us to continue to grow and keep things moving forward and progressing. The last thing I want to talk about is equipping. I know some of you guys were here when I spoke at the leadership conference. Jesus gave us an excellent example of how to equip people. Jesus did a lot of things in example for the pure purpose of showing the disciples what right looked like. That's our responsibility too. But we can't equip anybody with anything if we don't have anything to give. So, I just talked about growing and being willing to change. That is what will catapult us into continuing our education, continuing the learning process. As long as we have breath in our bodies, the work is not finished. We can do something. It doesn't matter how old you are, you can do something. Even if it's just sharing a kind word with somebody. If it's just sharing some wisdom. I love talking to my grandmother, for example. She just gives me so much wisdom. She shares these things with me that I may not get anywhere else. I love hearing about how things were during her time. Why? So I can understand where she came from, see where we are now, and see where we're going to go to in the future. So equipping is twofold because the more we know, the more we can share. The more we share, the better off we're going to be when we can no longer function the way we used to. And we have to rely on the next generation behind us. So we have to pour into them as much as we can. I'm not trying to keep anything from anybody. Everything I know, I want to pour it into somebody else. Because one day I'm not going to be here. I tell my children this all the time. One day I am not going to be here. And I want to make sure you got everything I got. I don't want you to start over when I leave. I want you to start off where I finish. When I stop here, that's where you start and keep going. That's my goal. And as a leader, I believe that that should be the goal of every leader, to make sure that we are properly preparing our generations behind us, that we are properly setting them up for success, not trying to hold them back. And that's twofold too. I believe that there's a responsibility on the younger generation and the older generation, like I said at the beginning, but the responsibility lies with us. I say us. I'm still a little bit on the younger side than some of y'all, but that's okay. The mission is the same. The mission is the same. And leaders, we need to care. Character, our attitude, building relationships, and being effective leaders who equip the people that follow us. That is the key. Those are my core values as a leader, as a person. And I want that to be the core values of every leader that I get the chance to influence and touch. And that's all I have for you this evening. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate y'all. God bless you.